Hello and welcome to another anime lore and fury video. I'm Shergog, your host, and today we are going to take a closer look at whether or not Ainz Ooal Gown will face a battle against an alternate version of himself. And no, I'm not talking about Pandar's actor. But before we're going to take a closer look at any of this, let me quickly thank my Patreons for supporting this channel, as well as say thanks to all users of the YouTube thanks function for making one-time donations. And with that said, let's get to the topic at hand. Since Volume 1, Ainz Ooal Gown's story has never been about becoming stronger, leveling up, or defeating his opponents. Yes, there had been epic battles, for example against Sheltier Bloodfallen, against Platinum Overlord, and even against Climb, a fight that Ainz Ooal Gown only barely won. But on a more serious note, Ainz Ooal Gown's story never was about a young hero setting out on a journey to defeat an overwhelming enemy and growing alongside his heroic quest with his friends. Ainz has been fighting himself from the very beginning, his loneliness, his old friends and the loss of them, the last remnants of his humanity, which are fading more and more every day. And he is fully aware of what he has become, of what he is doing, of the consequences of his actions, and of the scenes unfolding before his very eyes. And yet he is indifferent and doesn't care. He realized that before him, for example the so-called Knights of Beirut, who were just the Sunlight Scripture in disguise, were committing terrible crimes against the villagers of Karen, and that these images of suffering and pain should have affected him as an ordinary office worker even in our own decaying old world of the year 2136. He should not have been able to watch such images without feeling anything but disinterest. And yet, just moments later, when he took his first life, using his favorite spell Grasp Heart, he realized that he had not only become an undead overlord in body, but also in mind. Even when he briefly considered resurrecting Enri's parents, only to soon question what that would even achieve, using valuable magical resources just to give insignificant villagers a second chance at life. It became clear just how much of his former humanity had been lost. And the same, albeit on a way greater scale, happened on the Cat's Plane, when he unleashed the children of an eldritch Lovecraftian deity upon the peasant army of the kingdom, an army made up of conscripted sons and family fathers, who were pressed into military service by an indifferent nobility. Ainz Ooal Gown was fully aware of the scale of his action and atrocities, but the only thing that interested him, that he could care about, was how this victory and its consequences would benefit the Great Tomb in its dealing with the Emperor and the Kingdom. In other words, whatever humanity once remained inside of him seemed to have been completely destroyed. And yet, human emotions still stir within him. Even though Ainz can effortlessly maintain his composure, he is still capable of feeling some degree of anger and fury, especially over what happened to the Swords of Darkness. This proves that small embers of humanity still flicker within the darkness of his soul. Why else would he have chosen to take revenge on Clementine and Khajiit, using the very daggers that symbolize the Swords of Darkness? Because in the camaraderie of the small adventurer party, Ainz saw his old friends, the only thing still fettering him to his humanity. And it goes even further when Team Foresight infiltrated the Great Tomb of Nazarick and used the name of his friends in a blatant and disgusting lie. Something happened that should not have happened. His rage, his anger, his disgust and his loathing all boiled over in an explosive moment of pure and unfiltered emotion. For a brief instant, the body of a level 100 overlord, empowered by a world item, lost control over the emotions of an ordinary office worker. So it had taken a great amount of effort and time for the emotional suppression to tame his emotions. And this proves that humanity still lingers within Ainz Ooal Gown, and this was further explored in the Overlord bonus volume. In this alternate scenario, Ainz Ooal Gown was also transported to the New World, but 200 years earlier. But this time he was alone, without the Grey Tomb, without his monstrous and merciless subordinates, with only a few exceptions of course, like Yuri Alpha or Alberto's sister, who are actually good and stand on the basically good side of karma, who had still some regard for humans and humanity, but they were also not transported. And in this timeline, Ainz encountered a young Evil Eye who had just been recently transformed into a vampire by Cure Elim Los Malvar's magic after falling victim to the undead Dragon Lord. In a way, she had lost her life, just as Ainz had. And yet, much like Shaltir Bloodfallen, Evil Eye retained her emotions and feeling in her entirety. She, like Shaltir, did not seem to suffer from any emotional dampening. And because of this connection with Evil Eye, everything changed for Ainz, because the empathy and emotions of a living being, even though housed in the body of an undead, still had a lasting influence on Ainz Ooal Gown, the Overlord who in the canonical story has never been able to let go or make peace with his old life, who clings desperately to the NPCs created by his friends, even though they committed monstrous acts and demanded an equally monstrous leader. None of this was present in this alternate story. Instead, in this version, the otherwise indifferent Ainz Ooal Gown chose to fight for Evil Eye, to seek out the destroyer of her homeland, and put an end to Cure Elim Los Malvar. And the parallels between Cure Elim and Ainz are remarkable, because in a way, Ainz Ooal Gown has taken on the same role in the canonical story that Cure Elim played in the bonus volume. Just as Cure Elim wiped out the kingdom of Invernia, Ainz wiped out the kingdom of Riestais with his undead forces and his negative energy, while Evil Eye retained her humanity despite being in an undead body. Ainz's formerly human body had become in essence the exact same as that of the Elder Coffin Dragon Lord. And Climb, Renna's human counterpart, has likely suffered the same fate, meaning he too lost his humanity for Renna's sake. In other words, what Cure Elim represents in the bonus volume is what Ainz Ooal Gown represents in the main story. And in the bonus volume, Ainz fought against the undead dragon in Evil Eye's name, seemingly losing the first battle, but then preparing for a second confrontation, this time equipped with all of the knowledge he needed to destroy Cure Elim. And in the end, he succeeded. Afterwards, Ainz and Evil Eye re-established Ainz Ooal Gown as a guild, and it became a reflection of his old guild, but with new members. Ainz found new friends, new like-minded individuals, and experienced fantastic adventures. And this version of him became the complete opposite of the undead overlord he has turned into in the canonical story, despite inhabiting the exact same body. And this leads to a crucial question. Does this version of Ainz exist in the main story as well? Could there be a second Ainz Ooal Gown? Another guild that was formed by an alternate version of him, which could one day confront the Grey Tomb. We know that world items are capable of far more than just duplicating or cloning a person, and these artifacts can fundamentally alter the very laws of physics that governs this new world. And we also know that Wish Upon a Star was capable of making the impossible possible, except when it came to altering or negating the effects of world-class items. So from this perspective, the idea is theoretically possible. And we also know that a confrontation between Ainz Ooal Gown and an alternate version of Ainz Ooal Gown would likely create a major loyalty conflict among the NPCs, damning them to inaction in the face of this duel. After all, it has already been established that Nezeric's NPCs would never attack another player from Nezeric, unless that player was the original creator. And this means that Nezeric's entire power structure would not be able to intervene in a battle between Ainz and Ainz, So if a good Ainz and a dark Ainz were to fight, the forces of Nazarick would be unable to interfere. And in the Evil Eye light novel storyline, Ainz Ooal Gown not only has 200 years more of experience than our own canon version of Ainz has, but Ainz had also completely forgotten his old guildmates over the course over 200 years, because he had long moved past his loss. In other words, the good Ainz in this scenario would undoubtedly be shocked at what his alternate self had done to the world and to entire nations. Even he could understand why he became that way later. So a potential duel would from this perspective not be impossible. However, I personally don't think that a second Ainz exists in the main storyline, because Ainz Ooal Gown eliminated Cure Elim Los Malvare in the bonus story, and even though we never actually saw this dragon, the Corpus of the Abyss has made it very clear that some dark undead force is still controlling and exploiting them. In other words, Cure Elim is still alive and well, for an undead dragon lord. So I don't think there will be a duel Ainz against Ainz. But that said, it doesn't mean that Ainz' internal conflict won't eventually come to light in some way. There will likely be some resolution to this mental problem. And what the resolution will be, I can't say. Perhaps a second battle against Platinum, perhaps a confrontation with a disillusioned Evil Eye, maybe even Albedo's betrayal will be the catalyst. Or maybe something entirely different, we simply don't know yet. But I don't believe that this inner conflict will remain unresolved, because Overlord has always revisited such story threads. But again, that's just my opinion. What do you think? Let me know it down in the comment section. And while you're typing, I say thank you very much for watching, thanks to your support, thanks to all of my Patreons for supporting this channel. If you want more of me, check out my other channels linked down in the video description. And while you type, I say thank you very much for watching, thanks to my Patreons, and special thanks to Ada Daddy Ada, ASK, Bad Guy Yee, Bad Burrito 316, Beezer, Ben C, Brandon S, Brandon D, Chrissy, Crowley 0221, Sia, Crystal Prime, Dead Slime, Death is Mercy, Deathless Dragonlord, Demon Xenomorph 1987, Devin Downen, Ding Dong, Din Pep, Dragonlord Placido Saxophone, Duckwagon, Dunkler Krieger, Dystopia, Dystopia II, Enigmatic Unicorn, Feralchivan, Guy with That Head, Hector Marino, Hoss, Huster, Jacob G, Jana B, Jason, J. Morris, Chromius, Kyle R, Lee K. Long, Legendarius, Le Louche Britannia with a Mustache, Lexus Fox, Lord Nishikian Rai, Lord Touch Me, Lofrazer, Merowek, Mr. Shoes, Mr. Tweaker, Michael R, Michael Y, Nope, Oh Hell No, Normal Toad, O'Kill, Overlord General Gaspar, Paddy Pentum, Personage, Ruru, Primus 11, Rhinomere, Q&A Caracos P, Shergox's Daddy, Shadow Lightning Wolf, Shrine Keeper, Sir Axolotl, Super Tier Magic Batista Bomb, Supreme Cheese, Staris, Ted, Texas Deer, The Orc Warboss, Rocket Smasher, T.E. Wang, Vash Hawkeye, Vegito27, Venture Fanatic, Wilhelm, Xenokai, and Sonagon. Thanks guys. Anyway, have a nice day, and I hope to see you all again soon on my next video.